love Mike Hanson Archives.
You ready to run?
Hello, folks. This is Jeff Davis with the legendary Jeff Davis Show from Central Texas, USA. And I love Mike Hanson Archives. Peace out, baby.
Neo-Nazi racialist, a brainwashed, camouflaged, crazy Christian patriot, a paranoid, signatoid, schizoid isolationist, a homophobe, xenophobe, rabid, anti-Semicist, anti-this.
So I say this to the militias and all others who believe that the greatest threat to freedom comes from the government. If you appropriate our sacred symbols for paranoid purposes and compare yourselves to colonial militias who fought for the democracy you now rail against, you are wrong. How dare you call yourselves patriots and heroes? If you say the government is in a conspiracy to take your freedom away, you are just plain wrong. There is no freedom.
Now we can see a new world coming into view. A world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order.
The New World Order does not mean surrendering our national sovereignty or forfeiting our interests.
That America's central bank operates in the public interest. The truth is that the Federal Reserve is a private bank owned by private stockholders and run purely for their private profit. Any doubt whether the Federal Reserve is a part of the U.S. government, check your local telephone book.
In most cities, it is not listed in the blue government pages. It is listed in the business white pages right next to Federal Express, another private company. But more directly, U.S. courts have ruled time and time again that the Fed is a private corporation.
Today, we're all going to learn a new term. It's only 2 words. Now listen closely. Can all of you say constructive fraud?
Constructive fraud!
Did you ever get the feeling as you're staring at the ceiling that this game of life we play ain't fair? Seems as fast as we can make it, there's a hand that grabs and takes it till they plant us in a grave somewhere. Like a rodent on a treadmill, we keep pushing for it uphill, but we never seem to get too far. Well, if you think you're being taken, then you're ready to awaken to the truth of what we really are. We're all indentured, servitudal slaves, overburdened and bewildered feudal knaves, who have lost our sole posterity through ignorance and apathy, and now we're being taxed out of our graves. And as long as we stay passive, we'll succumb, contented with some socialistic crumb. Well, the naked truth and fact is we're all saps who pay our taxes, and that is why the banksters keep us dumb. Could the state of our condition be the product of omission, what we didn't learn in public schools? And did our fathers all through history all fight and die for liberty so we could play the tyrants' fools? And can you call it education when it's all indoctrination to obey the hidden powers that be? Did we fight the revolution? Did we win the world wars just to slumber into slavery? We're all indentured, servitudal slaves, overburdened and bewildered feudal knaves, who have lost our sole posterity through ignorance and apathy, and now we're being taxed out of our graves. And as long as we stay passive, we'll succumb, contented with some humanistic crumb. Well, the naked truth and fact is we're all saps who pay those taxes, and that is why the banksters keep us dumb. While Franklin and Eleanor were telling us they hated war, they made a deal behind our backs. They said the bankers could enslave us for a portion of our wages, and today we call it income tax. But what they failed then to tell us was the way they planned to sell us into statutory slavery. Now it's called constructive fraud. Some even claim the wrath of God. I call it social insecurity. Let's stop being indentured, servitudal slaves, overburdened and bewildered feudal knaves, and reclaim our lost posterity. Rise up and proclaim liberty. It's high time we rock the boat and make some waves. 'Cause as long as we stay passive, we'll succumb. They'll starve us on their communistic crumb. And the naked truth and fact is, we don't have to pay those taxes. Yes, it's time we show those banksters, those international gangsters. So let's turn the tables and spoil all their fun.
That's all.
A bureaucrat woke up one day with nothing much to do. He tried to put his street clothes on but couldn't find his shoe. The night before he tied one on, now cobwebs filled his head. By afternoon he called in sick and then went back to bed. The next day he felt shaky, but he made it off to work and voted to increase his pay and take another perk. Although the people cried out loud and told him what to do, instead of trying to cut the cost, he increased revenue. Yippee-yi-yo! Yippee-yi-yay! Tax hikes are on the way. And he said, tax 'em, tax 'em, tax 'em, though it breaks their backs 'em. Tax 'em where they run, where they hide. In winter's freezing weather, if we can't tax their sweater, we'll try to tax the hair off their hide. My congressman just voted yes to increase foreign aid. Although our nation's infrastructure's worn and torn and frayed, while veterans and nation sons become the unemployed, since NAFTA passed those aliens, we'll gladly fill the void. Yippee-yi-yo! Yippee-yi-yay! Vengeance is on the way. I say we hang 'em, hang 'em, hang 'em, till their toes are dangling. Stretch those traitors' necks, hang 'em high. Before they up and bust us, let's use old-fashioned justice and go out and get a rope and hang 'em high. My senator just voted yes to pass the Brady bill. He thinks if he can take my guns, it's him that won't be killed. He doesn't give a hang about the crime he helps create, as long as bribes keep coming in. Americans can wait. Yippee-yi-yo! Yippee-yi-way! Vengeance is on the way. We hang 'em, till their toes are dangling. Stretch those traitors' necks, hang 'em high. Before they up and bust us, let's use old-fashioned justice. Go out and get a rope and hang 'em high. Check 'em out, size 'em up, look 'em up, find 'em out. If they're in, vote 'em out. If they're out, hunt 'em down. Drag 'em into the court, every traitor a sword. Use your vote like a rope, hang 'em high. Hang 'em high. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt your classic viewing, but here is Jeff Davis. What is it?
Legendary Jeff Davis show.
And what should they do?
Well,
subscribe to...
I gotta make my proper
Okay, go ahead.
introduction.
Go ahead.
Legendary Jeff Davis show, baby. From Central Texas, USA. Best in the world for 30 years.
And you're watching some 25-year-old...
We're watching Mike Hanson Archives here on Facebook. Now, Mike, tell us about your...
Okay, well, that's... You don't interrupt. Let's go right back to Jeff Davis.
All right, this is Jeff Davis.
Hello, Austin, Texas. We're back. And we have our regular little... we have Easter Sunday coming up here this Sunday. And we have our Easter bunny for all you people out there. They're going to take Junior and put him in a bunny suit and go out and get some Easter eggs with your kiddos. We're going to just briefly talk about this pagan festival coming up here on Sunday. And then we've got a video about the immune system coming up later. We've got the video coming up about, it's from an organization called The Family, and a few other little things later on in the program. I do want to talk briefly about Easter Sunday coming up here on Sunday. First off, folks, if you get out your Bible, and I have mine here, and you read Ezekiel 8, verse 16, it talks about, I'll just go ahead and read this particular verse here, but throughout Ezekiel, chapter 8, basically there was a temple where the heathen were worshiping the sun towards the east. Now, basically what this whole Easter pagan festival goes back to Rome and goes back to Babylon, and certain Babylonian Roman type customs that the Babylonians worshipped the egg, and they worshipped it as a symbol of fertility, hence the Easter sunrise. But in Ezekiel 8, verse 16, it says here, and I've been sitting here reading it, all of this chapter, but it says, "He brought me into the inner court of the Lord's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men, with their backs toward the temple of the Lord, and their faces toward the east, and they worshiped the sun towards the east." Of course, later on it goes on to talk about how the God of Israel instructed his people to look towards the north, and they refused. Basically, folks, what the majority of people, and of course the world will play this up, the media will play this all up, but it's a Babylonian Roman type pagan holiday that has to do with the vernal equinox more than it has to do with remembering Christ's death. First off, if you were to remember somebody's death, being your mother's death or your grandfather's death or your uncle's death or whatever, you would remember that day on the same date every year, December 19th, June 15th, whatever. The fact is, Easter is celebrated on a different date every year, so the fact is it's all tied into the sun, worship the sun god towards the east, and it's all pagan, it's all Babylonian type customs, and so, not that I am somebody that gets into arguments with people about the Bible, because the Bible is very clear cut that Christmas and Easter and all of these these pagan holidays are not scriptural, and in fact, the origins of these days go back to wicked type systems. And so, when you get your little Easter bunny out, and you take Junior, dress him up in an Easter bunny, and go get your eggs, just remember that this is a day that's supposed to be in Christ's name, although it really isn't, because like I said, it's not even the same date every year. So the fact is, folks, this is just another example of a world gone astray, and the Ezekiel chapter 8 verse 16 specifically identifies how the heathen were worshiping the sun towards the east, hence Easter sunrise. Once again, if you were to be remembering somebody's death, you would remember that person's death on the same date every year, not March 28th one year, April 10th the next year, etc., etc. So the fact is, and everything surrounding this day is of pagan origin and non-biblical. So, if you want to know why we're in the mess we're in, folks, this is a pretty good start. If in fact you believe in the God of Israel, and you wonder why that we're enslaved, and our current rulers and their religious system is ruling over us, this is a pretty good place to start looking. Excuse me. Now, secondly, we do have coming up on April 19th, we have coming up our 4th annual bus charter service for the Jeff Davis Show. We've already filled one bus. If you're interested in getting a bus ticket to go up to Waco, Texas, to visit the Branch Davidians in their memorial service on April 19th, the Jeff Davis Show is making it possible for you to do that on April 19th. It's a Saturday. And if you're interested, you can give us a call on the comment line at 370-9558. The bus will be leaving Austin roughly 6:30 a.m. to arrive in Waco at roughly 8:30 a.m. where the 4th annual memorial service will begin at 9 a.m. That'll take us up to about 1 o'clock, and then we'll go from there to a light lunch, and then back home in Austin hopefully by about 3:30 to 4 p.m. So, if you're interested in our Journey to Waco, sponsored in part by the Jeff Davis Show, on Saturday, April 19th, coming right up here, give us a call at 370-9558. And like I said, we've already got one bus filled, and we're now working on our second bus. I want to appreciate everybody that's involved in that and getting that moving. And so that would be. I also want to mention that on April 15th, we're scheduled to be on KBET Radio on Joyce Isaac's program with Sheila Martin, who is actually one of the surviving Branch Davidians, and she will be on there with us. And we're also going to have on April 14th. Where there's Daniel Martin, it's Sheila Martin's son, and Sheila will be scheduled to. There's Sheila right there. She's scheduled to be on the KBET Radio on April the 15th, and our crew is scheduled to be down there as well with the Jeff Davis Show. So we got a lot of things happening. I did want to mention the Easter thing, because we do this every year, whether it be Christmas, Easter, these pagan origins. Babylonian type origins of these festivals, whether it be the spring festival or the midwinter festival of the heathen, which is actually Christmas and the start of the 2-week winter solstice. Mainly, folks, because like I've always said, if you put any faith in your God to deliver you from any type of tyrannical system or whatever, you cannot continue to participate in foolishness such as this. So as the people head into their pews and head into their churches on this Sunday for Easter sunrise service, the people that watch this program know biblically and the origins of this day and the problems associated with it. So you might want to think twice before you dress Junior up in his little bunny suit and take him on out to get some to chase after some Easter eggs on that day. I myself will not be participating because I know the origins of it, and I know that my God doesn't appreciate me participating in such foolishness as this. So, with that, we do have a. I guess we're gonna go ahead and go to the first video, and when we get back, we're gonna take some phone calls. And now this video, the first video that we've got. Okay. Okay, folks. Just a couple of things to talk about here. We'll be ready with the video here real shortly. We were scheduled to have some guests in here. Apparently they're not here yet, or they're not going to be here, so we'll just press on. Just a couple of quick things. Again, let me see. Okay, I did get this mentioned that
We'll put up the plate later on.
Greg Erickson from Teledemocracy wanted me to mention that
Eric Mobius.
who wrote this? That Eric Mobius, the disbarred attorney, is scheduled to be on Teledemocracy tomorrow night from 9 to 10
Yeah.
on Channel 10. So if you're interested in Eric, you might want to catch that tomorrow at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. on Channel 10, Teledemocracy. Eric Mobius is scheduled to be on. A couple other quick things. I want to, there's some people I need to thank. I want to thank my crew, first off. We've got, our crew is expanding down here, and we have people, actually more people than almost than what we need, although I'm not going to chase any of you people off, Lyndon and Michael and all you. Because you all are doing a fantastic job. In my opinion, folks, of all the access programs down here, we have got absolutely the best crew that we have, and we do need everybody. But we do have the best crew on AC television, and I want to thank them, because without them, this fine set and the camera work and the lighting and the slates and all of the things that we do down here, the guests that we line up, and all the different things that we do down here would not be possible. So I just. Are you ready with it?
No, that's later on, man.
Well, what are we? Okay, but what are we gonna? Do you have the? I want to go to the little family. Do you have that now? Okay. I just did. Okay, we're gonna. Okay, folks. First, before we get to we got a piece on. It's about 40 minutes. It's on fluoride, chlorine, and some of the other things that and how it may affect the immune system. We're going to get to that here later down the program. Until then, we have a little video that was put together for me by a little small religious organization called The Family, and then we've got a little special 5-6 minute music section that we're going to play after that, and then we'll be back with some phone calls. Basically, it's open topic tonight. Anything you all want to talk about is open game. There's a lot of things coming on the scene as far as I know that there's a House bill in the House right now that it's called Brady 2, which seeks further gun control measures on the populace, of course under the disguise of the war on drugs and the crime on the streets. There's some bills that need looked into on at least on the national front. And there's several things coming down the pike now. Of course, you've got the last week, for example, the news in this town, and that's the purpose for the Jeff Davis Show, folks. On this show, we're not going to talk about South by Southwest or the rodeo or UT basketball. On this program, we talk about alternative type news and information, and you people can, and then the viewers can decide for themselves whether you believe what's being put out or not. Also, if you're into fun and frolic, you want to turn the channel now. You don't want to watch this program. You want to turn the channel over to the Academy Awards or the Oscars or whatever it is, because you've got that on. If you're one of those people that largely can't think past what the media is feeding them, and get sucked into foolishness such as this, just like they did in Rome, I might add, by entertaining the slaves with bread and circus. It's the same type of philosophy here. Academy Awards, UT basketball, South by Southwest, rodeo, all of these different issues that entertain the slaves, get people focused on the current condition that they're in. You don't want to watch this particular program. Okay, with that, is this the hey, is this the family one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then later on we got the immune system.
Okay, we're going to go to a little 15-minute piece. It's kind of a mockery news setup, and I think it's kind of funny. I don't agree with every little piece in it, but it is kind of funny, and it's somewhat informative, particularly since we see so much technology now towards the smart card system. We see fingerprinting technology going on, the thumb printing, all of this type of movement towards tracking and tracing us as basically as rats here in this modern day Roman Empire. But it is a kind of an interesting little piece, and then we're going to play a little 6 or 7 minute music piece, and then we'll be back with your calls. And remember, the journey to Waco, April the 19th. If you're interested, 370-9558. And it's going to be interesting, folks. It's a very inspirational time. If you've never been to Mount Carmel and seen the ruins that happened almost 4 years ago, then it'd be an interesting time for you to come up and meet some of these people, see the devastation that was done to these people. And I look forward to being there. It'll be actually the 3rd time I've been to Mount Carmel. And it always leaves me with a very favorable, actually very saddened, 3rd time, be the 3rd time, with a very saddened feeling in my stomach when you consider the fact that the people that got into these tanks and drove these tanks into a structure with men, women, and children on the other side are still out performing their VATF duties, folks. Whereas if you and I was to get into a tank and do that, we would be indicted on criminal charges. So the people that are in the so-called government operate outside the law for the laws that the normal citizen could not do. So they're still running around. The Davidians are dead, and largely the tank drivers, and also the people that shot and killed the Weavers at Ruby Ridge, 14-year-old Sam Weaver and Vicky Weaver, shot and killed them, are still running around as your so-called law enforcement officers. So it's a disgrace. Also, there's a new movie out. I want to just mention, probably won't get a lot of attention in the so-called mainstream, but supposedly, just from what I've heard, it's a fairly informative video, and it basically actually shows the infrared pictures of the tanks smashing Davidians and young kids on the other side when they were going through the walls. Supposedly it's FBI infrared video footage, so it's somewhat interesting as far as that goes, and it's supposedly to hit the airwaves fairly soon. So the journey to Waco, we invite you to come with us. The Jeff Davis Show is sponsoring in part our trip on April 19th. And with that, we're going to go to our first video, and then we'll be back in about 20 minutes. Thank you very much, Lauren. You did an outstanding job.
And now, the XYZ Evening News with Donald Quick.
Good evening. I'm Donald Quick with the XYZ Evening News. Tonight, we have a special report on the new economic system that went into effect just last week. Our special news correspondent, Shirley McMedia, brings you this report from a local supermarket. Shirley?
Thanks, Don. Behind me, you'll see what looks like a normal line of customers paying for their groceries. But if you look very closely, you'll see that they're paying without money. All the customers have to do is place their hand over the laser scanner. It reads their personal identification number, then subtracts the amount of money they're paying for their groceries from the credit they have in their bank account. We've come down here to get the enthusiastic reactions of some of the first people to receive their credit mark. Ma'am, what do you think of the new cashless credit system?
Oh, goodness, it's wonderful. I don't have to fiddle around in my purse anymore looking for change or write checks. It makes life so simple.
Oh, the mark? I mean, it's just totally cool. It's like my own personal number on my body. Nobody can take it. I can't even lose it. Nobody can steal it. It's totally awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad I got the mark. I feel a lot safer now, and I'm glad they made it mandatory. I think it'll make it easier for the law enforcement agencies to keep it.
It's on sale.
Just a second. To keep track on the criminals, and I think society will be a lot safer.
Yeah, come on, look. See, it's got a...
And speaking of criminals, the government has issued a law making it illegal to buy or sell without the new credit mark. It is a criminal offense to refuse to get your own personal identification number. Shirley McMedia, XYZ News at your local supermarket. Back to you, Don.
Thanks, Shirley. You may be wondering, why would anyone want to refuse to get a credit mark anyway? Here's an interview with a religious fanatic who was picked up just this afternoon for failing to have a credit mark. In fact, he was picked up in front of a credit registration center for passing out pamphlets claiming to expose the new world credit system as a sort of, quote, satanic conspiracy.
Why did you refuse to take the mark?
Because the Bible warns all true Christians not to take the mark, or to worship the world dictator, which is known as the Antichrist in the Bible.
So do you believe this is worth going to prison or even dying for?
Of course I do. You know, I was arrested for warning other people about taking the mark before it's too late. You know, the Antichrist is going to be destroyed, and Jesus is coming back soon. And also it says...
Now with me on the show tonight is Pastor Dumkoff, the pastor of one of the largest and most respected churches in our city. Pastor Dumkoff, does the Bible really say that it's wrong to respect, honor, and worship our great world leader?
Oh, no. I personally have received the mark myself, and I've advised my congregation to do the same. It's mostly just these, like, religious fanatics who freak out about these type of things. But if you would read the Bible, it clearly states in Romans 13, chapter 13, verses 1 through 7, that Christians should submit to the higher powers, as well as 1 Peter 2:17 that tells us to honor the king. So what could possibly be wrong with submitting to and worshiping our great world leader who has restored order to the world after the economic crash? It's just another level that the church is moving on to, and we're very excited about all the good things that the new world order is accomplishing.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Now on to our next news feature. Although the economic outlook brightened considerably in the last week, the country has been rocked by a series of unprecedented natural disasters that have left relief and law enforcement agencies struggling to maintain law and order. Tornadoes have been ravaging the Midwest, and California was struck by the third major earthquake of this year. Weather patterns throughout the entire continent have been strangely disrupted. Yesterday, in a freak accident, 3 credit registration centers and even a registration enforcement patrol were struck by lightning on an otherwise clear day. In a statement released, the government has denied the popular rumor attributing this and other freak natural phenomenon to a number of self-proclaimed prophets or rebel Christian leaders. It is said that these are merely natural variations in weather patterns and may, in fact, be due to the greenhouse effect or global warming. The government urges all citizens to remain calm and promises that future research will no doubt solve these and other problems. Well, that's part of our world tonight. This is Donald Quick with XYZ Evening News, wishing you a good night.
Wow, it's happened.
And cynical attitudes. Today's guest on Profile is someone committed to bringing more optimism into this world. I believe in love, and I believe in romance, she states with the conviction of someone fighting an uphill battle. More than anything, I want my music to touch people. Ladies and gentlemen, the words and music of Lynn Bomer.
Listen to you once more as we take another look at a song of yours. It's called I'm a Lady of Means.
And I mean what I say.
And I mean what I say.
Uh-huh.
Don't you know I miss you, baby? Don't you know I love you, dear? Don't you think that someday maybe we can get together without the tears? 'Cause I'm a lady of means, you know. I mean what I say, and I say what I feel, 'cause I'm a lady of means. Things aren't as easy as they need someone to hold me, to understand me for a while. 'Cause I'm a lady of means, you know. I mean what I say, and I say what I feel, 'cause I'm a lady of means. Things aren't as easy as they And I mean what I say. Things aren't as easy as they seem. I have wanted you so long now, in my heart and in my soul now. I can see you oh so clearly. That is why I love you so dearly. 'Cause I'm a lady of means, you know. I mean what I say, and I say what I feel, 'cause I'm a lady
Joining us is a longtime libertarian activist, ran for several offices here in Austin, and you appear on Live and Let Live every now and then, right?
Yep, when they need some help.
And you're also a caller in to several of the talk shows, I know.
Yeah, I'm an inveterate talk show caller.
Vince May, folks. Now, Vince is with us here for a little while to talk about some, well, go ahead, some websites.
Well, I got a new toy a couple of years ago, a computer, and I finally got a modem and figured out how to hook up to the internet. And I've been learning a lot on the internet. I went to the Council on Foreign Relations site, and they're worried about the internet. They claim that the internet is spreading too much information, and it's destroying their plans for one world government. There's no way they can build
a perfect utopia.
Right, with people knowing what's going on. So I figured I should explore more, find out what they're worried about on the internet. And sure enough, there's a lot of information available.
Okay, now you happen to have a couple of the, I guess you got this from Joyce's show today or something? Or?
Yeah, a couple. They're going to put a slate up on the board to make sure people write them down correctly or transcribe them. But one of the sites I went to was the IRS site. That's at U.S. Treasury. It's not U.S. Treasury. They left off the U-R-Y. USTreas.gov. And these are all worldwide websites. And there I found out that the IRS, I mean, they put this on the internet. They put it on the internet. They have a plan to assign every person in the world to a country. And every person becomes the property of that country for up to 10 years after you leave that country. Even if you renounce your citizenship and leave the country physically, you're still the property of that country and taxable. And there's no secret about it. It's right there on the internet. It's under the link Model Convention at the you go to USTreas.gov, click over to IRS, click over to Model Convention.
Right there it is.
Right there.
Make us all citizens of the world to be taxed for up to 10 years.
Yeah,
whatever country. But it's whatever country you happen to be in. Is that correct?
Right. Well, today I heard a good site on the Joyce Isaacs show on the radio. She had a guest on who has a website called Constitution.org. And there's a lot of liberty ideas that are presented at that site. So, and a lot of links to other sites. You can just spend weeks learning and educating yourself with the information that people are, spending their time doing a lot of work to put this information on the internet.
Let me ask you. Let me put a little bit of devil's advocate here.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll get to that here. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Well, he's talking about it. That's what he's talking about.
It is?
Yeah, that new movie you were talking about.
Oh, yeah. There's a new movie.
The Waco, the Rules of Engagement. Let me see. There. Go ahead, keep talking, Vince.
Waco 93.
Go ahead, keep talking, Vince. We'll get to some calls here in a minute, too. But
okay, there's some other sites I wanted to mention. One of them is we don't need the United Nations to tell us how to keep our environment clean. We can figure those things out ourselves. The free market, if allowed to work, will do that very effectively. And there's a website that's at PERC, PERC.org. And that presents methods that we can keep our environment clean without having the specter of big government standing there with a gun telling us how to run our lives.
And I want to just mention this Waco one. It's called, there's actually a new movie. Can we get a close-up of that? We did this last week, but I want to do it again. Just for the fact that I don't know that this particular movie, like the Howard Stern, some of the movies where there's just, circus stuff, issues of this particular movie that has been brought out. It's called Waco, the Rules of Engagement. And here's basically the claims are in this movie. That's good right there. basically the claims are that they have some the FBI, some of the old, FBI footage, infrared footage, where it's actually, and you can expand on this too, Vince, because I know you heard the fellow that was on the radio today, that basically that there's some infrared pictures that show the tanks getting into the, actually going through the walls. And well, why don't you, did you hear that particular portion of it, or?
Well, I think people should go to the website.
It's yeah, let me go ahead and give it. It's that HTTP. Of course, most people already know that. Then it's www.waco93.com. Waco93.com is all they need to know, isn't it? Or?
Yeah, if all these sites that we have today are worldwide websites, so you have to put the HTTP and www, and then
it's basically Waco93.com, and then that is says information about theaters showing Waco. The rules of engagement can be found on the internet at waco.com. Contact independent theaters and TV stations in your area. Encourage them to show the film. That's what it's saying here in the March 17th issue of the Spotlight. But go ahead.
Now, this is a documentary, and what's interesting about it is Robert Redford, who runs the Sundance Studios for specialty films, art films, I had it in the showing this year, so it was well received there. I mean, it's Robert Redford is kind of left wing, and kind of it was surprising that he allowed it to be shown in his festival out there, the Sundance Film Festival. So, and that's, you will find links if you're at constitution.org that will take you to Waco 93.
While I've got you here, I'm hoping that you'll know about this too. I recently, with Terry Liberty Parker, he basically got me arranged for me to have my own kind of bulletin boards forum, and I haven't done too much with it up to this point, but I'm fixing to. How do you know how for people to tap into that? I think it's 462-1776, but I don't know exactly what that means to a viewing audience. What is that?
Well, to get onto the Liberty Bulletin Board, which is maintained by Terry Liberty Parker, it's free. You don't pay a service charge. All you need is a computer and modem, and you dial up 462-1776. And once the site comes up, it'll tell you what you got to do, what buttons to press to get further into it.
I'm actually hoping that Terry is watching, so hopefully he can, if he can get through, he can call in and maybe give us. We're just now starting to try to get this thing moving. We've got our little Journey to Waco on there, about on it, how we're chartering a bus service to Waco, and but we're fixing now to start getting this into. What, are we having problems with the mic or whatever? It's not too bad, is it? I mean, people could hear him, couldn't they? Okay. We're hoping to really get that moving. Recently, I have some ties to the Republic of Texas, and they recently went through a kind of alert phase where they thought that they were basically going to be attacked by several of the law enforcement agencies. And I actually used the Liberty BBS to get some of the information out that I was getting from Richard McLaren. So it is actually a pretty good forum for, an alternative source of information. But anyway, Vince, go if you would tell some more about these.
Finishing
websites.
up on that, there is quite a bit of Terry does download all the traffic in between the Republic of Texas communications, and so they're all available. The latest one I've seen is Robert Kesterson says that he is not going to surrender.
In fact, there was a recent deal where some judge ordered one of the treasurers or one of the council people to surrender the list of names of the Republic of Texas members to Dan Morales.
And also there are fines that have been levied against them that are up into the billions now, and they'll soon be in the trillions because they double every day. That's the kind of people they're dealing with. how they're not threatening violence. They don't want to fight, but they're not going to surrender, is what they're saying.
I would also, as a side note to that, I would also mention that it's my opinion that that they may be hurting a little bit right now. In fact, McLaren was recently disavowed by Archie Lowe and that bunch. Now they've separated into another faction of the Republic of Texas, so you've got at least 3 or 4 different factions. I think it's basically maybe just infighting amongst the top, which is kind of a shame, but then again, that's kind of what you would expect if you were, you know, if we were all actually fighting for our own liberty and deciding what kind of a system of government that we would set up. But I just found that out because I happened to be in Corsicana this weekend, where Ron Neal, and I know you know Ron, was actually mentioned as a possible council member for the Republic of Texas, so which I thought was interesting. But anyway, if you want to go ahead, you got anything else to add to that, or do you want to go into the website?
Well, another website would be FAME, FAME.org. And FAME is an outfit that Ron Paul is associated with. It's well, it stands for Foundation for the Advancement of Monetary Education, and they tell you a lot about how the Fed works, what it's doing wrong, why our stock market is going to crash pretty soon from the actions of the Fed, having had loose money for too long now and pumped too much money into the market. It's in large part the same thing that happened in 1929. So, but they have just a wealth of data.
That's good. That's good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I hope they get them up on the screen pretty quick.
No, we will. I think before we do that, let's go ahead. We've had a call.
Or can they superimpose them, or do they have to cut us off, or how do they do that?
No, they'll just put it up on the screen.
Okay.
And we can just talk over it. Let me ask you though, before we get to the calls there, what was the other one? And then we'll get it on the screen. What was it? You said there was another one you even wanted, the FAME one?
There's one called, it's one word now, The Writer. The Writer, just like you're writing a letter. No, there's no W in it. THERIGHTER, The Writer. And this is from a lady in Salt Lake City. I think she's a medical doctor. And she is defending her Second Amendment rights. It's got links to all the Second Amendment sites in the country, Gun Owners of America, and then just a bunch of other ones. So thewriter.org has a great site for learning about your Second Amendment rights.
Okay, with that, we got some callers. Okay, good. Okay. Let's go ahead and bring Terry up first. Or, yeah, let's go ahead. All right, let's go ahead and take number 1 first, because he's been holding, for her, he or she's been holding. Well, yeah, and then we'll get to, hello?
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 Jeff.
Hi.
Hi, this is Josh. How you doing, Jeff?
Good. Thanks for holding.
No problem. Jeff, I watch your show all the time. I have no problem holding for you. Excuse me one sec. Boy, I told you, shut up. Sit down. Stay there. I'm sorry, Jeff. My kid's kind of acting up. You know how it is. But listen, I was thinking about something. I was thinking about how we are kind of slaves to this whole society, this whole death culture, if you will. I mean, my kids have been learning how to use an AK-47 since they were 5 years old. We've been packing up food and non-perishable goods back in the pantry for a while. We're waiting for something to happen. I can feel it in the air. And I was wondering what you felt about that.
I don't make predictions. I think it's a good idea to store food, though, because if nothing else, you beat inflation.
Yeah, I hear that, man. It's sometimes hard not to eat, though. You know what I'm saying? You got some of that great cranberry jelly. Woo!
And I do think that it's a good idea to have a weapon. It's a Second Amendment issue. And so all the ideas are good, but I personally don't make predictions as far as what's going to happen down the road, because too many times people have made those predictions and then nothing materializes and the whole movement's discredited.
I agree with that.
So basically, I think it's a good idea to store food. I think it's a good idea to look for alternative health care. Keep your powder dry. All of these types of things I think are excellent ideas. A little survival training.
Yeah, well, I've been teaching my kids, the basic drop, duck, and roll and everything. And I mean, we're pretty well rehearsed in that field of combat use and defense. But even more importantly, sir, this may be taking a tangent off the subject, but I was wondering, where did you inherit your name from?
I don't know.
Oh, really?
I can tell you that I do have I have Apache blood in me, so I don't know how that ties into Jeff Davis.
Right. I guess that's where that ponytail came from, huh?
That's it.
Can we take a look at that?
That's actually not.
My kids are watching.
That's
Jeff.
actually not the purpose of the program.
But my kids are watching, Jeff, and they've been wanting to see that ponytail for so long. They just think it's so cute.
Maybe next week.
I think it's cute too, personally. But
Thanks,
I mean,
Josh.
Oh,
thanks.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. But that's not the purpose of the show.
Oh, okay.
Do you got anything else to add? Question or comment?
I did want to say that I think to take a more socialistic approach to the society, I really think we should start living for ourselves, live for today and die for tomorrow.
Okay, good call. Okay, I want to have you seen our Easter Bunny, Vince?
No, you have a story behind that?
Well, well, we've already discussed it, but I mean, how you go from celebrating Christ, his rising, to an Easter, to something like this. And eggs and dressing up in bunny suits and all that. It's something to think of anyway. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely something to. Next caller, you're on the air. Hello.
Well, hi, Jeff.
Hey,
and Vince.
Terry.
Hey, and thanks for promoting Liberty BBS. For people who don't have an internet account, if you have, like Vince says, if you have a computer and a modem and a communications program that tells the modem what to do, you can call for free. You can call Liberty BBS, which is 462-1776. You call that with your modem. And if you're calling the first time, the screen will ask you to register with a realistic name. I don't care if it's your real name, just so long as it looks like a realistic name. It's not going to ask you for a phone number. And when you log on, and by the way, when we're doing this, it's similar to the anonymous sites that exist on the Internet, except you don't have to get on the Internet to do this. You can be on Liberty BBS with a name that looks real but doesn't necessarily have to be yours. There's no other identification. I don't use caller ID or anything. And we do import from the Internet the Republic of Texas email discussion forum, among others. We have hundreds of forums, but that's one of them. And so you can log on, you can read the messages that are there, and if you decide you want to post a message, since the way we bring those messages in, the way we participate in that email discussion forum is we subscribe the board itself, Liberty BBS, as opposed to individuals who would post messages. So when you post a message, you'll see your name up there, but it's within 15 minutes, whenever the mail packing software comes through there, before it packs it up to send it off, it changes the name of who that message is from, so that instead of it being whatever name you're registered on there as, it'll be the name of the bulletin board system. It'll be something like RT Liberty BBS. That'll be who the message is from. And that way, if you want to participate in the discussion that's taking place amongst the people who are interested in what's going on with the Republic of Texas. And this, by the way, that doesn't mean that you're a member of the Republic of Texas just because you chime in on the forum. A lot of people are there who are for and against different aspects of the Republic of Texas, and the debate basically sharpens everybody up. But the point is you can participate in that debate if you want to, without having to disclose who you are, if you're concerned about that. Or if you want to disclose who you are, you can just put your name down in the bottom of the message and let people know that this message is from you. The point is that it's at your option. Now, that's one of hundreds of forums. And
hey, Terry, can I interrupt you for just a minute?
Yeah.
There's something I want to get done here. Do you or somebody, I know or one of my assistants back there does, do you happen to know my email address? We need to start getting that out on the...
Yeah. Whenever you register as your first time on Liberty BBS, whatever name you use, that becomes part of your email address. So if you're on there as Jeff Davis, then your email address is... And by the way, this is free. You would have you can send and receive email for free through Liberty BBS. So your address will be let's see this. I think he's got it right. Jeff.Davis at 804. That's a 0, not an O. 804.ima.infomail.com. Yeah, he's got it right.
Okay, let's keep that up there for a minute, Terry, while you go ahead and keep with your presentation here.
Yeah, so, and Vince was...
I want to just mention, too, what I hate to... The people, I want to, if we can start getting... I'd like to really start getting some email. We haven't really mentioned it yet. We haven't really promoted it. But it's time that we start, because I know that Vince and some of these other people have been mentioning to me that this is definitely a way of fighting these tyrants, and what they're doing to us is through the internet.
And I'll say that
Vince is exactly right on this point when he points out that different elements of the existing establishment are quite concerned about this new alternative mass media. Well, those people from the current establishment are fully aware of what happened the last time in history that a technological innovation made it possible for mass communications that bypassed establishment controls. We call that the printing press. When the printing presses were invented, the establishment freaked out. They encouraged people to burn books. They scared people about what they might find on these unapproved methods of getting information. England even forced people who had printing presses to register their printing presses. Get that. And of course, we all know what happened with the printing presses. You had all kinds of information that was not approved by the establishment, and that included some pretty revolutionary stuff, which, of course, ultimately undid the establishment of its day. Well, the establishment today, of course, is quite concerned about the fact that you and your audience and anybody else can just get on the internet or get on these computer nets without even going through the internet directly, but get gated through by the by means such as Liberty BBS. They're quite concerned that people can get on these computer nets and do communications on a mass basis, not just one person to another, like picking up the phone or sending them an email letter, but if you post in any of these forums, if your post is good enough, you're not only going to be read by a few people, you'll be read by many people, and a lot of those people will just take your post and say, hey, this is so good, I think I'll copy it over to a few other forums. It's called cross-posting. So you end up being published all over the world in a very short time, much faster than anything that could be done with paper and ink.
Terry, one more thing. The particular... that Patriot Forum that you set up, I guess it's under my name. You and I need to get together to get that thing set up properly. But it already does exist as a forum that's on Liberty BBS. I've been out of town for the last few weeks, and we didn't have a chance to finish hooking it up properly. But ultimately, folks, hopefully by the time the next show comes around next week, we could be talking about how Jeff's forum, which is just like this call-in talk show, except it'll be in text and it'll be on a computer net and it'll go through the internet. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about that when you do your show next week. Is there a way to access it at this time, Terry? Yeah. Right now the forum does exist on Liberty BBS. It is not yet connected to other places. So if you call Liberty BBS and go to the message areas, particularly the grouping that's called New, you'll find something, I think it's called something like Jeff Davis Patriot Forum or something like that. But it'll be pretty obvious that it's yours. The message, you go to the message, I know my couple of my assistants know how to do it. I'm just trying to get to for the general public. The message conferences, there's several hundred message conferences, and one of the new ones, there's a handful of new ones, and one of the new ones is, I think they've got it on the screen right there, Jeff Davis Patriot Forum. That's right. So all you got to do is check out the grouping that's called New. When you go into the messages area, you look at the different groupings. There's like Mail and Fido and INET, and one of the groupings is called New. And if you drop into that grouping, there's several different new forums, one of which is the Jeff Davis Patriot Forum. Okay. And I'll be getting with you on that, Terry, because we're fixing to start going into full scale on that. Well, you bet, and I very much encourage people to get online,
Don't let the establishment propaganda scare you off of this new medium. The establishment is encouraging people to be afraid of this new stuff, just like when the printing presses were invented a few hundred years ago. The establishment of its day tried to discourage the populace from going to that new medium because people could get information that wasn't approved by the establishment.
Anything else you'd like to add, Terry?
No, thanks for bringing it up, and you guys keep up that good work. And Vince has got a lot of interesting stories to tell you about the sites he's visited and stuff. Now, of course, if you're bored by Vince's sites, you can always take a break and go to realhotwomen.com. but on the other hand, you could be serious and follow up on Vince's stuff.
Thanks, Terry.
All right,
give me a call.
Thanks.
I appreciate it.
You know, a lot of people I hope aren't discouraged about getting on the internet because they think it's hard or difficult. Because after all, when books came out, you know, when the Bible started being printed and people wanted to read that, they had to learn how to read. And it's a lot harder to learn how to read than it is to learn how to get on the internet. That can be done in a day, you know, a couple hours. And the main thing is to have a computer and a modem, and you don't need the top of the line fancy, you know, $5,000 model. You can get by with a 386. I guess there are a lot of people with 286s that do just fine getting onto the internet.
I want to just mention too,
the nicer one you can buy, you'll you know, the best one you can buy, go ahead and get it. But if you don't have the money, just buy what you can.
We actually had a lady that was putting together a website for us, who apparently, see, I don't know anything about this, or very little about this, but apparently there were some hackers that have come in and sabotaged the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? I'm waiting for one of my assistants, but basically that's the gist of it.
Yes, and she's being stalked on.
She's also being stalked on me because of me. Oh, thanks. So right now our website is kind of defunct because of that, if you can believe something like that. Next caller, you're on the air. Were you all ready with the slate for those email addresses? Okay. Hi, thanks for holding, caller.
Oh, yes, my name's Lebo.
Okay.
All right, I was just wondering, in regard to what y'all said earlier about the stock market, about perhaps it crashing.
Yeah. I didn't say that.
Someone said something about that, I believe.
Okay, go ahead.
No, well, I've been trading a long time, and I just wanted to comment and say that using the internet has helped me, broaden my horizons in the whole aspect of the stock market. Some great communication systems we have out there. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
You agree?
Yeah.
Get up down there.
Okay. We normally try to screen the calls here, but I guess we're getting. Anyway, do we have the slates for the? Okay, does that look like it there, Vance?
Yeah.
Now, will people be able to make? Okay, the first one, the Constitution.
Well, all of them are going to have the www in front. The HTTP, www, and PERC is going to be org. Fame is going to be org. Free Nation is going to be org. You have to put the org on the end. But that'll get you there. And Free Nation, now, that's a website that is kind of libertarian oriented, or it actually presents a range of ideas that start from anarchist to a minimalist government, kind of like we had in 1776. But there are hundreds of different sites, and you can branch off and discover what you want to read about. U.S. Treasury, that's the government site. Anytime you see a GOV, that'll be a government site that's put up by the U.S. government. That's it, org. We're going there.
PERC.org.
Yep.
And
PERC, again, is the environmental website. A lot of people think that only government, only big government, only the U.S. government or world government can solve our environmental problems. Well, at PERC.org you find out that most of the environmental problems are caused by big government, and that we're capable of solving them ourselves, or the free market will do it for us. TheWriter.com is the Second Amendment site. Well, once you get there, you branch off to 50 other sites. And they also have a link to the Waco 93.
The rules of about the movie, you mean? Or
they've got a long discussion of that, what you find in the movie. In the movie is a documentary wherein they base it upon tapes that were turned over by the government, films and radar and infrared films that they got from the government. Now the major media didn't care about this evidence. Never presented it to us. These people went and dug it out and made a movie and put it together in a coherent fashion. So I'm waiting for the movie to come to Austin. It will be here sooner or later.
We hope, right?
Mm-hmm.
We always say we hope, and apparently and supposedly and scheduled, and because in this world nothing's definitely not guaranteed.
Well, it doesn't get the promotion that a big production would, like Disney film's gonna. So the physical film travels from city to city, and it's played San Francisco and several other places on the West Coast. It will make it here.
Okay, so that's just that's just, and the reason why we have this show, Vince, to get promotion on the things that, for one reason or another, may not get massive promotion, in the so-called mainstream. Did you have anything else you'd like to add? We're going to go to a video here real quick. It's actually concerning the immune system, chlorine.
We're going to play that clip, the real clip about the scanning, what's happening.
Okay, we're going to go to a little scanning piece, but I think it was CNN or something.
2 minutes, and I want you to comment.
Okay. Okay. Do you like how we go here? All right, let's go. Let's go to a little 2-minute piece here. You can comment too, Vince, if you like.
Okay.
Whatever you see here, basically whatever entices you to whatever this entices you to comment on, feel free to do so. And with that, it kind of ties in with the little video we played earlier about the scanning of the hand, where they're, with the smart cards and the thumbprints and the all of this. But go ahead with it. Huh? Okay.
They're not ready.
Okay, we got a call. Take a call. You're on the air. Hello? See, what we do here, Vince, we run a lot of different visions. We try to show a lot of images.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more... Huh? She doesn't? Okay. Okay. So anyway, go ahead then with what you were saying, then.
Well, I'll probably have to dig up some more sites and come back next month. I mean, each one of those that was up on the screen has hundreds of links. You can just travel on forever and educate yourself and learn about the depredations of government. And
oh, yeah, let me play a little devil's advocate.
Okay.
Because a lot of people do this.
That's fun.
It is? Okay. Okay, let's bring up the next caller.
Jeff.
This sounds like Joyce Isaacs. Hi, Joyce.
Can I have that bunny? Y'all gave me a teddy bear.
Hey, what a tremendous honor to have Joyce Isaacs calling on the show.
Wait a minute, wait. Can I have that bunny?
Yeah, do you want that bunny?
It can go with my fuzzy dice and my teddy bear y'all gave me. Listen, is that guy right there? Is that Vince that calls me in hard times, people?
I'll let him answer that.
Hi, Vince.
Nothing's ever easy. Hi, Joyce.
Listen, I promoted that show today, the Waco film.
Yes.
And because I was talking to John Rowland, and I had sent some of the critiques. There was one from San Francisco, I don't know if it was the San Francisco, Examiner, one of them. But anyway, you don't know when it's coming to Austin, do you?
No, it's not scheduled yet, but I'm thinking it will show. It will make the rounds.
Okay, as soon as you get anything on it, will you please call me at KBET?
Certainly will.
Okay, can I have that bunny?
Yeah, don't hang up yet, Joyce.
Okay, babe. Yeah, Vince is rather good looking.
Hey, You called Joyce, and now Mike is just going crazy back there. So
Okay, let me talk to that guy.
You're gonna have to bear with us on the air here.
Okay.
Joyce, you really like this Easter bunny. By the way, folks, in case this is Joyce Isaacs on the phone from KVET Radio, 1300, 10 a.m. to 12 to noon. And Joyce, you have a wonderful show, dear.
Well, I'm a wonderful person now. I have a birthday this week, so I'm somewhat depressed.
Oh, really? Well, happy birthday, Joyce.
Well, I'm an old lady, and that's why you should be really kind to me, Jeff.
Oh, aren't I always?
Yes, you are, you little devil. Anyway, listen.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Joyce, we might have a surprise for you tomorrow with this bunny rabbit.
Okay, I just don't want any more children, okay?
I still think my producer needs you on the air. Can you hang with us just a few
I'll
more
hang with you. I'm glad to see Vince and get us some information about that movie. Okay.
Okay, so it is. Joyce, when she's still on here. Okay.
As a matter of fact, I think at the Waco 93 website, they have a schedule, and so that'll be where I find out about it.
What do you think of Joyce?
Great show, great show. And Joyce is like me, learning how to do internet and computers and all that. I mean, I'm a carpenter, and it, the learning curve was kind of hard.
That happened to be our...
we're watching the monitor here and having a little chuckle.
That happened to be our fun show a couple months back when Joyce was down here with us. Can we put that back up? I hadn't liked that shot. I want to get Joyce back down here to talk about some serious issues instead of this, instead of our fun show. Do you think she can handle that?
Maybe.
Yeah, she can do it. She's such a charming lady that it's, that you almost lose track of, when you're around her, you almost lose track of what you're trying to accomplish because her charm just radiates out. But anyway, Vince, go ahead. I think are we ready now with the did you have anything else to add, Vince?
No, nothing I brought with me or prepared to reveal to the world today.
I'm just actually kind of having fun here tonight. But we do have the movie coming out. We've got now which one of the emails was the Ron Paul one about the Fed? Was that the one that we put up on the?
That was, you go to the World Wide Web.
And it's Fame.
Fame, FAME.org.
Yeah.
And there's, most people don't know how the Fed works. Most people it's kind of a mystery.
A lot of them don't even know what it means. You mention it to them, and it's like, they don't know what that is.
I had a friend who wanted proof that the Fed is not a government agency. Wanted to know, see some proof that it's a private corporation. And I said, well, all government agencies are on the web now. Just like you had U.S. is the Treasury Department. And you can go to IRS.gov or what you can, Department of Commerce is DOC.gov. Well, I figured if the Fed is a federal agency, if it's part of the federal government, there would be Federal Reserve System, FRS.gov. Nope.
It's not on
there are numerous Federal Reserve sites.
12 districts.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean they actually have their own website?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, and what is it telling us on their website? How they're doing a great job in all these financial services? Is that basically?
Yeah. I downloaded a 160-page book from one of the Federal Reserve websites. There's a wealth of information. Of course, a lot of it I think is disinformation. I don't trust them.
Yeah.
But there's so much information. I mean, if you're willing to take the time and read with a critical mind, I think you can learn something still.
One thing I got to ask you on them lines, and this is in regards to somebody that may. Are we ready? Somebody that may that.
We're ready on that 1-2 minute date. Now, I want your comments.
Okay. Somebody that may say, well, this whole internet thing is there's not a lot of a lot of people don't even use their names there. How do you know any of this information about the Fed, the government, the Waco, or any of this stuff? This movement towards world government, any of this stuff is creditable, since it's just anybody can get a website and just throw information out.
Well, I mentioned one site, FAME, F-A-M-E. That's the Foundation for the Advancement of Monetary Education. That's something Ron Paul has been doing for many years, is trying to educate people about.
Of course, he's a current second-time congressman.
Right, and his name is on the website, and I don't think he would allow that website to remain there. And there are some other names of people who are well educated and knowledgeable about the subject, and so if you have to learn to shop with a critical eye.
But then on the same boat, Vince, you have to wonder, just because a statesman's or a statesman story, or who are these people? That doesn't mean that that's what the information that they're presenting is any more credible than anything else, just because they have their name there. In fact, in a lot of areas, I would say that some of the so-called mainstream information, it might not be untrue, but it's either tremendously slanted one way, or there's information that was completely out. So I would counter that and say, well, what are you getting from the other side? For example, there are people that criticize public access television for putting out a bunch of garbage stuff. Well, the fact is, if you watch network stuff, I mean, it's just sitcoms and
or the news channels,
or the so-called news channels, where for 2 weeks the only news was South by Southwest, rodeo, and I mentioned this earlier in the program, rodeo, UT basketball, and then this was the news. It was like an entertainment channel. Most of it had nothing to do with news.
Even the hard news, like they'll say, well, there's no inflation in the economy this week. The stock market is doing great, and the federal deficit's down to $107 billion last year. Everything's perfect, folks.
Yeah, right.
Smile and.
Right.
I mean, right. We're gonna find out pretty soon.
Okay. Let's go to the next piece. Now, this is like a little 2-minute thing here. You can comment on this, Vince, whenever if you want to comment on it, feel free to do it. I think this is like a little CNN clip where it basically is talking about this new technology about scanning our thumbs, and of course this is going to help in crime and tracking transactions, and this is pretty much what the propaganda that we're being fed. But this is what it's not. You don't have it.
We do, but it's taped on the wrong speed.
Okay, well, that's canned. Okay. Are we ready with the immune video? Hey, this is a very slow-paced show tonight here, Vance.
Yeah, well,
which isn't bad. Normally, we've got guests down here. Oh yeah, Joyce will distract anybody with her charm and her. I won't say anything more than that, but she's. I'm actually honored that she's watching and calling in and not watching we're up against a major Hollywood propaganda here tonight. The Grammys or whatever it is, the Academy Awards, but I do see a lot of cars out front here, a lot of people walking inside the hall, so not everybody's watching that stuff, including us.
Well, to use one of Sammy Allred's lines on KVET, my best days are when I wake up with Joyce.
And she really did like this little bunny here, so we might see about what we can do with that. Now this court. The reason why we keep flashing this up here, Vince, is the fact that we're coming up here Sunday is Easter sunrise service. We talked about this outside, before you came on, about how the Babylonians were worshiping the sun towards the east. Of course, the Lord told them to look towards the north, and they refused, and they continue to worship the sun towards the east. Hence, Easter sunrise service. And then we talked about the vernal equinox and the whole Babylonian Roman origins to what many people are going to be celebrating here this Sunday. To me, I think it's important to expose foolishness like this, because if you really believe in a supreme being and whatnot, then I think that it's important that you at least try to, on some point, to try to follow some of the paths that he would have you leave. Now, if you're an atheist, I guess, or whatever, that doesn't make a difference. But if you do believe that there is a supreme being, I think it's important that you at least, that we at least as a people try to adhere to some of the procedures that he might have. And this kind of foolish. This is definitely not one of them. So that's the reason why we brought that up
That's
tonight.
part of bureaucracy and big organizations running things.
Right, bureaucracies and and organized religions. I mean, let's face it. My Bible does not talk about Catholics and Baptists and Episcopalians and Pentecostals and all of this. So you have to. The next obvious question is then, where did all this confusion come from?
Well, it's a standard tactic for entrenched bureaucracies to divide and conquer.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, anytime there's any kind of resistance to the bureaucracy and the powers that be, well, divide them up and start them fighting against each other, and we'll stay in power.
Yeah, politically and on a spiritual basis as well. That's generally the way I see it. So, and then when you consider when you add the steeples and all of the other foolishness that the organized religion partakes in, clearly, and one thing that the organized that you hear is this Romans 13. Have you heard this Romans 13? Basically, it says that we are to. Well, I've got my Bible right here. Let me just read this here, because this is something that needs countered on, and you'll hear a lot of these. Basically, it says here, "Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers." Basically, their claim is that God ordained these governments, and we are to serve these governments. Else,
like render unto Caesar.
Yeah, render unto Caesar, and all of this thing. What I beg to differ with the interpretation of that, because first off, this country was founded, Vince, as you and me, as the Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
There was no king.
That's right.
We're the Caesar.
Sovereign individuals.
We're sovereign individuals. We're the Caesars. So this whole the interpretation of Revelation of Romans 13 is completely out. And not only that, when you look deeper into the Bible, God did not intend His people to live their lives here on this planet as slaves. If He did, I mean, there's plenty of instances in this book where He delivered or sent a deliverer in to free His people from bondage, whether it be the Moses incident when going into Egypt or whatever. There's a lot of instances in this book where God did not intend for His people to be living their life out like a bunch of slaves, like I believe that we are here today, with all the taxes that are eating us up and all the regulations and the permits and the fees and all the. He did not intend us to live this way.
In the European countries, the governments and the churches are so close that the churches actually don't put an offering plate out in church. The government collects the money and turns it over to the church. I mean, it comes right out of your paycheck. Government tax man takes it, passes it out to whatever church you want it to go to.
And I will also say, too, that many of the politically correct churches, I call them the Obey Caesar churches, are tax exempt, whereas some of the maybe more controversial churches, maybe like America's Promise, or some of the religious entities that I might be persuaded to listen to from time to time, they're fighting for a tax-exempt status. In fact, the IRS is harassing many of the so-called non-politically or non-spiritually correct philosophies. So basically, if you're an Obey Caesar type church, throw out that type of law script, then you're tax-exempt largely.
Mm-hmm.
And see, this is part of the hand-in-hand. And then when you get into the World Council of Churches, the National Council of Churches, the Pope and the Vatican and all the money that's in Rome and all of this, you can see there's a definite link between the big brother bureaucracies and the big organized religion.
Yeah, it's kind of like the government wants all your money. Now, if you're a good boy and you go to the right church, we'll give you some of it back. If you're a good boy and you go to the right job or do your go to the military, whatever we want you to do, we'll give you some of your money back.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tax deduction.
Plus, the majority of them are participating in this, on this. Not to mention that Sunday is not even the Sabbath, the biblical Sabbath.
Oh yeah, it's an official state holiday.
Right.
I mean,
And this, all the major religions are participating in this largely. They all claim that the old biblical laws that were given to Moses were done away with. So there's really no difference largely in philosophy. It's mainly just obey Caesar, render unto Caesar, go to celebrate Christmas and Easter and feel real good, entertain yourselves and do all of these types of things. And you see the political sphere going in the same direction as far as the they've had the Democrat and the Republican, but they're largely saying the same type of thing, same type of philosophy. And then they may appear on the surface to differ, but everything seems to always go in the direction of more power, more government, more taxes. It's what I'm saying is it's a smoke and mirrors that's being played on us on a lot of different fronts.
that explains it pretty well.
And that's why nothing really changes. It just continues: more debt, more taxes, more laws to enslave us, make us criminals of the state. And this is what's and it continues to pursue in this direction. I think we are with ready with the immunization video. This is about 40 minutes, and you can come back and join us. Vince, you're going to hang around here for a little bit. This is actually a fairly good video, I think. So with that, we'll go to the video and we'll be back roughly around 10 o'clock. I want to thank Joyce Isaacs for calling in. Joyce, you're a wonderful woman. Beautiful lady. There she is.
You happen to be watching the Jeff Davis show, and I happen to be Joyce Isaacs from KVET Radio with my new best friend in the capital of Texas. Where else would you find Texas? And it says, one of these stars belongs to you. I'll do what I must to keep it free. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose, or I think. But I know that the price of freedom is constant vigilance. Are you a veteran, Miss Sunshine?
I sure am. I'm a disabled veteran.
Vietnam?
Korea.
The forgotten war. And we finally got a memorial to you men, right? Yeah. Okay. We thank you for it. Wave bye to Jeff.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Would you look at this? This just goes.
Mike Hanson, your good Facebook buddy and YouTube buddy. Here's Jeff Davis, my great friend. We're not social distancing. See, we're in 2020 now. Tell me about 1995.
1995?
Well, that's what we're watching right now, Jeff.
You caught me off guard with that. I don't know anything of what's going on in 19. Oh, about how the technology is going to bring world peace.
Give him the shade here.
That's
Come
true.
on back.
Yeah, this fella and myself were in the Channel Austin TV studios in Austin, Texas, public access, about 1995,
96, 97, 98, 99.
And I said to Mike Hanson, we were in the control room, and I said to him, Mike, I don't know anything about this internet too much of what people are talking about, but if it turns out to be anything like people are talking about, it could bring world peace and liberty. And guess what, folks? On this date, 6 June 2020, we're heading into world peace and liberty.
We hope so.
No, that's 100% guaranteed. Jeff Davis Show official prediction. And as you know, Mike, Jeff Davis Show has been deadly accurate on predictions. Great callings, Orwellian police states, Fed bank fleecing. But this prediction, Jeff Davis Show prediction, is going to bring the greatest world peace and prosperity in the history of the world. That's it.
Well, don't tell those protesters, because I actually told them, live and let live yesterday, and almost got beat up.
Those protesters, those people out there at them rallies, just keep on going, baby, because we're marching our way right into a better place in this world.
We hope so.
Jeff Davis Show knows so just keep marching away and just keep going and going with love and peace, and before you know it, we're going to have heaven on earth.
We're going to get right back
That's
to
it, baby.
Peace. We're going to take you back to 1996, folks. We'll see you later.
Peace, baby.
God bless you.
That's it.
You gonna put this on TV?
I'll put it at the roll-in.
Okay. Now, what are you gonna do? Put it on the roll-in?
Now listen. Say this is Lieutenant Beck, and I got a Clinton joke.
It's Lieutenant Beck. I got a Clinton joke.
Lieutenant Beck, Commander Travis County SWAT.
All right. I have a sense of humor.
Go.
Anyways, Monica went to her.
No, start over with this is Lieutenant Beck, Travis County.
This is Lieutenant Beck, Travis County Sheriff's Department. We do have a sense of humor. Monica went to her plastic surgeon. She asked the plastic surgeon, remove my love handles. The doctor looked and said, why? You wouldn't be able to hear.
That's good. Got any more important numbers here we should look at?
Hello, folks. This is Jeff Davis with the legendary Jeff Davis Show from Central Texas, USA. And I love Mike Hanson Archives. Peace out, baby.